Hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and it is Sunday afternoon, which means it's Soul Sunday. For those of you who don't know, we do 3 broadcasts a week, one on a Friday lunchtime, Pacific time, which is our learning broadcast. We try to improve our skills. We're a group of extended family people of choice. And we're always trying to grow and cope with our lives better. And so that's on Friday lunchtime, we do a skills broadcast, which is available on the replay. And then on Friday evening, we do a laughter one. We had a lot of fun doing an experiment this week, doing the laughter one on Facebook Live. And then on Sunday afternoon, what we try to do is just slow down and take it easy. All right, getting ready for the coming week. Now, while we're waiting for a couple of people just to pop in, hi, Jodi, what I wanted to do is just give Jodi an update because she's always interested in my garden. Jodi, isn't that amazing? You know, remember I already cut the leaves off once on the 13th, and we are now in a week. That's what it's done. I thought I'd just show you that. Hi, Isabel, good to see you. And so I'm really happy. The other thing I did was I got two orders of groceries that I didn't expect and ended up with too much for my fridge. And so what I did was I looked at it and said, what can I do? And I had 2 portobello mushrooms that were take up quite a bit of space. And so what I did is I actually dehydrated them in my oven overnight. And if any of you are interested to know how to do that, I will let you know. But literally, that is 2 portobello mushrooms that now can go in my cupboard rather than in my fridge. And this is 2 bok choy, dehydrated. And then what I decided to do was to actually turn them like this, so that I could add them to smoothies and things rather than waste them. And the other thing I wanted just to report on, I decided to find out if you can actually grow popcorn. In other words, I've taken some of the popcorn seed kernels and I've put them in my in my mini greenhouse here, and I will let you know next week whether they sprout. All right, so all I did, literally, if I see that you do want to know, all I did was I just cut them up and I put them in my toaster oven. You could put them in a regular oven on some paper towel. And I put it at the very lowest setting and just left it. Obviously make sure that your lowest setting is not going to do anything funny to the paper towel. But you could just put it on a baking sheet or a piece of baking, parchment paper or something, and literally just leave them. And Nyesha, I don't know if you saw this, but I dehydrated 2 portobello mushrooms. So, quite honestly, I love to add mushrooms to omelets and things that I'm cooking. So I thought some of you would like to know. They need to be totally dried so they don't mold. Yes, I've just put them like this so that you can see. Tonight, I will actually put them on top of the toaster oven while I do some more. I'm going to try it with onion to see if I can do that with onion. So I appreciate the comment. So I'm wondering whether any of you are beginning to feel a little bit stir crazy or not. And it is quite possible that you are. One of the things I wanted to warn you of is, for some of you, this time of being in isolation, now that you're over the initial part of it, is going to either strengthen your relationships with the people you live with, or it's going to really push it at the seams. And so I want to just put out one word to give you all a warning to just stay very calm and controlled for yourself. Nyasha's asking, did I do it with a dehydrator? No, I did it with my oven. I literally put them on, you can just put it on some wax paper or something, or parchment paper, and just put your oven at the very lowest setting for about 8 hours will do it. And, you know, it's just, you know me, it's like, I don't want to waste this. I had too many bok choy and I had didn't have room for the mushrooms. So now the other thing I want to find out is, can you do it with carrots? Because I've probably got a few too many carrots, but we'll find out. But definitely, I thought I would show you that it's possible to do without a dehydrator. So I hope that makes some sense. I want to go back to my comment about mental health. Just as I was coming to do the broadcast, I saw that there was a mass shooting, for example, in Nova Scotia. And that obviously is very concerning, but I think if I understood it correctly, 10 people have been killed. But what made me think was some people who cannot control themselves are going to get more violent. And some people who don't have the ability to entertain themselves, you know, their life is all about external things, are going to be really starting to struggle. And the other thing I wanted to warn you all about is that a lot of people are going to start saying, well, I've done 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's enough, you know, now it's time to get out again. They thought that when the Spanish flu hit in the early 1900s, people were in isolation, and then the First World War stopped, and everybody came out of their houses to celebrate the end of the First World War. The amount of virus that was spread when they did that killed more people than the war did. So what I'm trying to do is, because I care about you deeply, and I know that you listen, I want you to please be aware that to extend this isolation for as long as you possibly can and stay safe. So Jodi's saying, my routine hasn't changed too much, but I still had a down day yesterday. I felt stressed, just overall, from the impact of the pandemic and what our new normal will look like financially, etc. Yes, absolutely, Jodi. And, you know, it's very important. I took a quiet day for myself yesterday, and I agree with you. You know, my routine hasn't changed a great deal. But I understand that it has for a lot of other people. Yeah. So Nyasha's saying, our oven is complicated to use. Can the process be done otherwise? Yes. I want to tell you that, have you seen the sun in Trinidad and Tobago? The sun will do it. You know, literally read the instructions and use the sun. You know, literally, I would Google how to, you know, dry fruit or whatever it is that you want to dehydrate by sunshine. Have you ever heard of sun-dried tomatoes? There was one in Spain, Nyasha, in the early 1900s called the Spanish flu, and it killed an awful lot of people. Yeah, tomatoes, you know, if you like tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes are wonderful. You know, you can just keep them in a jar and use them when you want to, just to add to, you know, if you're making an omelet or a pizza or whatever. So people pay an awful lot of money for sun-dried tomatoes. You know, seriously. But what I want you to see is these are the sort of things that we will need to enjoy more because of what's going to happen to the price of food. Right. Now, I was a bit upset. I went to go and check on my seedlings this morning, and apparently a slug found them, a couple of them, before I did. And the reason I know it was a slug, because I caught him. So how many of you know that that's life, right? Doesn't matter what I do to grow my own stuff, bunny rabbits are going to come and slugs are going to come and probably snails, and I'm going to lose half of what I planted, but that's okay. I am prepared for that because you see, I am prepared, not scared. All right, so Niash is saying, yes, it's very hot. I know it is. I hadn't thought much about drying by the sun. So there's your experiment for the week, Niasha. Do some research on how to sun dry tomatoes. All right, that'll tell you how to do it. And then I'm pretty sure, obviously, if it's going to rain or something, bring them in. But I think they say it'll take about 3 days in the sun. So you just keep turning them over, every few hours and just quietly, it'll tell you how to do it. Have fun. You've got the biggest oven in the world, it's called the sun. So, and if you might even need to put them, depending on how hot the sun is, it might even be too hot. So that's really what you think about. Anybody who's ever lived on a farm will tell you that, you have so much produce that you can eat, but the rest of it you need to can or dry, or dehydrate or do whatever. So we can do that. I was thinking that maybe some of you are beginning to think, gosh, will I ever get to the beach this summer? And I know that a lot of you love the beach. So what I thought I'd do for today's Soul Sunday was to actually give you some beautiful quotes about the beach. All right, so Jodi is saying 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. You still have homegrown produce, even if a few critters have a buffet. You're trying. You know something, Jodi? I am seriously thinking that I can probably grow the things I want to grow indoors, with the exception of things like carrots and stuff. And those, I yeah, Isabel saying sharing is caring. Yeah. So maybe, it's like I will find out. And, next year I will probably go and get some netting or something that I can put over the beds. But, at the moment, I'm just trying the experiment. So here we go. And I hope you enjoy these quotes. So take a moment, just relax. And imagine the sea. Because there is nothing more beautiful than the way the ocean refuses to stop kissing the shoreline, no matter how many times it is sent. How many of you can see that picture in your mind of the waves kissing the shoreline? I just thought that was a beautiful quote. Every time I stand before a beautiful beach, its waves seem to whisper to me, if you choose the simple things and find joy in nature's simple treasures, life and living need not be so hard. Hi, Jonas. Nice to see you. Yeah, Amnesh is saying that she saw on Facebook that a mayor in Florida had opened up a beach. I know it's scary that there are quite a few people that are beginning to open things up. And I just want to tell you to be prepared to see the death rate spike now because of that. We are, quite honestly, until they give us a vaccine against this thing, it is very, very dangerous, especially for those who are at high risk. I thought this was a lovely idea. Just imagine this for a moment, right? Take your mind and let it travel. I wonder if the ocean smells different on the other side of the world. Have you ever thought about that? And from my experience, having traveled a lot of the world, no, it doesn't. How about this one? Whenever I look at the ocean, I always want to talk to people. But when I'm talking to people, I always want to look at the ocean. Jonas, I do want to ask you whether this isolation um, has shown you how much you have grown over the year. And I say that because I get a real sense that you did a lot of hard work on yourself. And I cannot say anything but well done. If ever we were preparing ourselves for what is hitting us now, I guess we did over the last year. The word ocean is a noun, and it's a body of water occupying about 2/3 of the world, made for man who has no gills. Isn't it amazing, right? When you think about it, the oceans take up so much of our world. And how many of you agree with this quote? To escape and sit quietly on a beach is my idea of paradise. I must admit that I am guilty of being somebody who likes to visit beaches in the winter when the people are not there, when I can just sit and look at the ocean. To me, that is just like I can be all wrapped up in my parka and everything, and I will just sit and I will watch the water because it is quiet. I believe Matthew McConaughey said that his biggest problem in being who he is that he loves the ocean, and unfortunately, the paparazzi know that, and so he spends his life trying to get to a beach so that he can just quietly walk it, and you know who's waiting for him every time. And I was thinking, how sad is that? Helen Keller said, I could never stay too long on the shore. The tang of the untainted, fresh, and free sea air was like a cool, quietening thought. Isabel saying, for me, it is the contrary. When I see it, I have to swim in it. Maybe because I can't see it very often. Yeah. I can, to me, it's like, unless that's 80 degrees, I'm not getting in it. You know, I wonder if any of you relate to that. And Jonas is saying, I've overcome a lot of obstacles over the past few months, letting go of ego and creating myself rather than holding on to who I thought I was. I want to tell you, Jonas, that is the greatest gift you could give to yourself. I think it is so difficult to do. Believe me, I know. Believe me, I know. It is so difficult to do, but once you've taken that step and you can live in reality and you're not in your ego, It is amazing how the world changes. And I am just so happy that you've been able to do that. I must admit that, I think that's part of the reason why they say that those of us who get older are more at peace. And the reason is because we've had to overcome our ego. It's strange, Jonas. My sister sent me a picture of herself when she was in her 20s and then a picture of how she looks today. And to me, it was just like, she's still beautiful, but she doesn't see that. And to me, I look at myself today, and I'm okay with who I am today and how I look today, right? It's just like, I'm not trying to be 20. And Jonas, one of the things I found out is, as arthritis starts to get into my body right now, I get frustrated if I don't be careful. I get frustrated because I want to be able to do what I used to be able to do. But when I when I get clear and get rid of my ego about that, I just go, hey, what can you do? Let's work on what you can do, because you can still do quite a bit. I actually, for example, asked Lauren, for those of you who know Lauren in Tasmania, she doesn't have use of her legs. And I thought, if anybody knows how to put on socks an easy way, it must be Lauren, because she can't lift her legs. And so that's why I decided, let me get smart. Let me ask somebody who still has legs but cannot move the muscles in her legs, and how she puts on socks. And she taught me. So you understand that, we can find different ways, Jonas. And Yesha's saying, I have a mini above ground pool, but sadly I can't use it due to the likelihood that I may catch cold. Catch cold in the summer? Really? Who told you that? Yeah, Jodi's saying, I'm struggling with the ego regarding my arthritis in a major way. I can believe it. Mahatma Gandhi said, you must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is like an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean does not become dirty. So there are going to be people that don't do pretty things right now. There are going to be people who are going to take risks that we do not appreciate. Our job is to just remember we are responsible for our behavior. When we come out of this, know that you did whatever you could to stay safe. And you not only kept yourself safe, but also other people. How many of you agree with this, that a pool just isn't the same as an ocean? It has no energy, no life. And I would recommend, for those of you who enjoy the ocean, to literally find, and there are plenty of them, find some ocean waves on YouTube. They've got hours and hours of it. And then just literally imagine that you're at the beach. How many of you know that if you can imagine being at the beach, it actually does an incredibly good thing for your body, right? If you can literally just sit there and listen to those waves, just quietly close your eyes and imagine the sun soaking into your body. Imagine walking along the beach with your toes in the water. It is proven time and time again that if you can imagine it, it actually helps the body. All right, so Niasha's saying our country doesn't have 4 seasons. It only has 2, a dry season and a rainy season. And I've heard others say that during the dry season, which we have now, it is possible to catch cold. Yes, it's possible to catch cold any time of the year. Right? But boy, I would not keep outside. If I had the opportunity to sit in a pool, I want to tell you, boy, I would definitely do that. As long as the water is changed regularly and it's not stagnant or anything. If you want to know what my dream is, very simple. It is to walk among the beach holding the hand of my lover. How many of you just want to walk down a beach holding hands with somebody? And Yasha, I would Google that. Is it possible to catch, it's like, I don't know who told you that, but it's like saying, I mean, it's like, yes, of course it's possible to catch it in the, hi, Katie. Are you still in Texas? Is it possible to catch cold in summer? Of course, right? It's a virus. I love the beach. I love the sea. All my life, I live in front of the sea. Yes, Katie, that's why I think today's subject is so fitting for you. I know that you live, I think, a couple of blocks from the sea, right? Or you did. And for those of you who don't know Katie, Katie is a viewer from way, way back, probably 5 years ago. And so it's really wonderful to see you. Thank you for coming to say hello. And I'll let the people who are here introduce themselves to you, Katie. You're walking the distance of the beach. Yes, what a wonderful way to be able to do that. And it's wonderful that you're allowed to. So you are allowed to walk on the beach. That's great. I don't have any issue with people being allowed to walk on beaches. I just got really frightened to see the lack of social distancing. That's what made it scary. I think, they need to cordon off the beach in 2 lanes, one going one way, one coming the other way, but those lanes should be 6 feet apart and people should just be spaced out walking down the beach. But that's just what I think. How many of you will make going to the beach a high priority when you are allowed to come out of lockdown? And Yasha thought this one through about getting a cold. She said, I don't know if it was done to persuade me from doing so because I'm a very stubborn individual. But when I heard that, I said, well, I'm going to listen. Yeah, I really, I would do a little bit of research on that one, Yasha. And let me ask you all, what is your favorite memory of being on a beach? You know what came to my mind immediately, and it's strange because I've been to so many beautiful beaches. The one memory I have is being in Tunis at night and being on a beach where there was phosphorescence in the water. It literally, the water was alight with lights of the phosphorescence. And I actually swam in it, and it was just a memory of a lifetime. Yeah, Katie is saying, yes, they have closed it off, so I haven't been able to walk lately. I've really missed it. I got to do something wonderful right before. I had a guided tour by a composer. Really? I would say as well that, you know, there are so many ways in which we can do that now because of the technology that we have. I was trying to think the other unbelievable beach that I can remember was in Mauritius, one of the islands in the Indian Ocean. And literally, I was at the Club Med in Mauritius. And every evening at 5 o'clock or whatever it was, 7 o'clock, I can't remember what the time was, but every evening as the sunset started, um, you grabbed some drinks and you went down to this beach that was in a horseshoe shape. And everybody just took, you know, their deck chairs, the lounger type ones, and took them into the shallow water, which was beautifully warm. And you just literally lay with the water lapping over you with your drink and watching the sunset go down. And if that wasn't magnificent enough, they would play classical music in the background. And it was just like the most amazing theater. And here you had all these people just sitting quietly watching a movie of nature every night. And I want to tell you that every night that I was there, you know, as soon as I found out that it was happening, I went and did that. Of course, then they went and got, you know, incredibly drunk and partied all night. But, you know, it was just that it was the most incredible feeling. Wow, Katie's saying there were 50 of us listening to his piano music through headphones while he did a guided meditation. And then he had a piano on the beach where he played live. Truly beautiful. Absolutely, I quite agree. Jodi is saying, my favorite memory is walking the beach in Maine at twilight on my honeymoon, holding hands with Lionel, just listening to the water, talking about our future. Yash is saying, my family lives close to the beach, and though I don't go there anymore, my memories are of the younger days when I would go and try to swim. Yeah. And don't you love this one? If you can imagine it, and I'm sure that Jodi can because of what she just said, and I'm pretty sure that Katie can see this as well. You know, leave footprints of love and kindness wherever you go. When I say this, you know, it's like when you walk down a beach, one of the things that I always find so fascinating, yeah, Isabel, right? One of the things I find so fascinating is just to see your footprints and then see them quietly removed. Isabel saying, my favorite memory is family vacations when I was young. I kept going after when I was an adult. Good for you. And I know that you do because you gave us memories of that trip that you did. Niesh is saying just hearing those ocean waves creates a calming effect within the mind. Yes, and that's what I was saying. I really recommend that you get some wave music going this week. You know, hunt some down on YouTube. They've got so many videos there of and with waves just crashing on the shore, you know, or gently lapping on the shore. Yeah, Jonas is saying the soul usually knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind. That is so profound, Jonas. That is so true. If you know, one of the things that some of us, I think, are going to find is when this is all over, and it will be eventually, it might take a year or two, but when this is all over, some of us are not going to want to go back to that other world again. And Jodi is saying, yes, Isabel, those family vacations when we're young really leave lasting impressions of our lifetimes. Yeah. The sky above, the sand below, and peace within. The power of the ocean lies in its waves. Waves have humbled man for years and demonstrate the power of Mother Nature in her gentlest and fiercest. These beach quotes about waves are sure to help you find some inspiration or draw on a nice memory. There is no new wave, only the sea. So Jonas is, oh, hang on a sec. First of all, Katie is saying, I make sure every day to put my headphones to beautiful sounds and I bike ride for about 10 miles. It's important to take care of the body and spirit, especially during this time. Totally agree with you, Katie. And Jonas is saying you are a function of what the whole universe is doing in the same way. That wave is a function of what the whole ocean is doing. That's by Alan Watts. You are not a wave. You are part of the ocean. And John Tyndall said, life is a wave, which no two consecutive moments of its existence is composed of the same particles. A wave isn't like a skate ramp or a mountain. Everything is moving around, and you have the time how to move along with it. It's easier with a slow wave. Right. And Jonas is saying, after what Katie said, now that the snow has melted, I'm going to take my bike out tomorrow. Well done, Jonas. You know, and enjoy the fresh air. I was quite surprised that I read somewhere that some people had taken their cars to watch the sunset and they got fined for being out. And it was somewhere in the States. And I thought that was sad. I think people should be allowed to go out if they do not get out of their cars. It is said that you cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Yeah, Katie, as usual, you being here has helped somebody. Thank you. And how many of you can feel this one at your very soul? As the ocean is never full of waves, so the heart is never full of love. And again, I don't know who wrote this one, but a day at the beach is never lost time. When the warm grains of sand touch our hearts, we know we are in the right place. It was funny, when I went to Hawaii, with Benji. One of the things I actually wanted to do was to walk a beach that wasn't popular. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I loved, obviously I loved to walk on Waikiki Beach just because I could say I'd done it. But there was also part of me that wanted to imagine what Hawaii had been like before it got that popular. It was California residents that were fined for watching the sunset. Yeah, I think that's sad myself. What harm was there in being in their cars? They weren't, they were, even the cars appeared to be socially distant. So I was very sad to see that. It is said that every time I stand before a beautiful beach, its waves seem to whisper to me. If you choose the simple things and find joy in nature's simple treasures, life and living need not be so hard. We heard that quote before, right? And I think this one is true as a metaphor. We must free ourselves of the hope that the sea will ever rest. We must learn to sail in high winds. I'd also like to say we also need to drift when we are becalmed, because I don't know about the rest of you, but part of what's going on right now is we are becalmed, right? We can't go out into the hustle and bustle. We can't get all that external stimulation. Just because we want something doesn't mean that we can go out and get it anymore. Well, unless Amazon delivers it. And so to me, it's like we've got to learn to be peaceful again. All right, Katie's saying we are allowed here during the day and even encouraged to go outside. They encourage walks and rides as long as we practice social distancing. Only at night travel is for essential workers. Yes, exactly. And I make sure, Katie, that I take my car out twice a week. I don't get out of it. I just take it and charge up the battery and just go for a drive. And, it's just like I get out of the house and get a different sense of environment. And I think between that and getting out into my garden, I don't feel stir crazy at all. Robert Henry said, "Why do we love the sea? It is because it has some potent power to make us think things we like to think." How many writers in the world choose to be inspired sitting in a room somewhere overlooking the ocean? Think about that. And Henry David Thoreau said, "We need the tonic of wildness. At the same time that we are earnest to explore and learn all things, we require that all things must be mysterious and unexplorable. That land and sea be indefinitely wild, unsurveyed, and unfathomable by us, because unfathomable, we can never have enough nature." Isn't that the truth? Hi, Kimmy. Good to see you. Katie's saying that my youngest daughter, Autumn, and I go to the local park that has nature trails. We do 6 miles a day together. I think that's awesome. To me, the sea is a continual miracle. The fishes that swim, the rocks, the motions of the waves, the ships with men in them and women, and what stranger miracles are there? Hi, Beth. Good to see you. We are talking about the beach today. Don't grow up too quickly, lest you forget how much you love the beach. And this, of course, from Bob Marley. In high seas or in low seas, I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to be your friend in high tide or low tide. I'll be by your side. I'll be by your side. And Neil Gaiman said, I could be blindfolded and dropped into the deepest ocean, and I would know where to find you. I could be buried 100 miles underground, and I would know where you are. Isn't that beautiful? Yes, Kimmy, I understand that they're talking about opening things up. And one of the things that I am recommending is that if you want to save your life and the life of an awful lot of other people, do what you can to stay inside and stay safe. I was explaining earlier, Kimmy, that in the early 1900s, when they had the Spanish flu, the people came out of quarantine to celebrate the end of World War One, and the Spanish flu killed more people than the war had done. So please be very, very careful. Do not. Yeah, good girl. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, quite honestly, I would be prepared to live this way probably until they come up with a virus. All right, so Niesh is saying, I also purchased a jigsaw puzzle to be used as wall art after cleaning my room. I'm going to fit it together and hang it, after which I'm going to do some knitting. Well done. I'm actually doing a jigsaw puzzle every day. I'm doing them online. Yes, I'm going to wait until they come up with a vaccine before I think once we have a vaccine and people get it, we're going to be a lot safer. Yes, Katie's saying, I was an EMT when I met you, Sal's, 8 years ago. Is it 8 years ago? Wow. All my friends still, all my friends still are, and fighting the fight with the virus on a daily basis. Yeah, exactly. We are so grateful that they are. I even find that the person who delivers my groceries, I make sure I really thank them for doing the work that they do. Is Nash is asking, is the virus the same? No, it's not the same. Different flu viruses happen, Nyasha. If you remember, probably, what was it, about 5 years ago, we had SARS that came through. Luckily, it wasn't as deadly. Hi, Nada. How nice to see you. We're at the beach today. I miss the beach, the peace it brings. I love the sound and the smell of the sea. At the beach, life is different. Time doesn't move hour to hour, but mood to moment. We live by the currents. We plan by the tides, and we follow the sun. Ned is saying, I'm sorry I've been so distant. Been having some health issues, but I've been thinking of you all. Well, Nada, we're just delighted to see your face in here again. I don't know who said this, but I'm sure some of you will be able to imagine it as I read it. Beach rules. 1. Soak up the sun. 2. Ride the waves. 3. Breathe the salty air. 4. Feel the breeze. 5. Build sandcastles. 6. Rest, relax, reflect. 7. Collect seashells. 8. Bare feet required. And I've got to ask you, how many of you actually saw each of those things in your mind? Okay, Ned, I'm having a difficulty reading that point. You're saying, I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend, yes, and now I lost my password to my email. We've all done that. Just so you know. Okay. Well, I want to tell you, Nada, life is always more fun in here when you come to visit us. So anytime you feel you can do that, you will be, even if you don't talk, Nada, just know that we're here for you. Katie's saying, lovely visualization, so I could see it beautifully. Yeah, Isabel could as well, right? And you see, that is what I want you to realize, that you can do this. You can, I don't care how far away you live from the beach. You can choose to visit it just by imagining it. And Jodi's saying, I visualize all of these quotes as you speak. Thank you, Jodi. Dennis Wilson said, on the beach, you can live in bliss. Yeah, and Kimmy's saying you can even put the waves on your TV screen. Good idea. Jimi Hendrix said, even castles made of sand fall into the ocean. And how about this one? I can't give you who said it, but somebody said, in this big ball of people, I am just one grain of sand on this beach. And I'd like you to think about that. There are going to be people that are going to put other people's life at risk by going out and ignoring social distancing. But if you can imagine a beach, they are going to be hopefully just a few grains of sand on the big beach. Yes, I want to tell you something, Nyasha, that one of the first things I did when I realized what was coming down the pike, if you like, was I started to research how did people cope during the war. Now, that was the First World War. The Second World War was different. But really, if you think about it, there's, history can teach us a lot. And, it quite honestly, depending on how you live, I think in the way that you live, in where you are, it's not going to affect you very much. All right, and Kimmy's saying there is a place 50 miles from here that looks like the ocean and beach. It's called Bear Lake, Utah. Is it Utah? Yeah. Right, Katie, exactly. Katie's saying, I have several beach cams here that post daily. So I can, Even though I can't walk on it, I can still see it. Yes, and hear it, I hope. And how about this great thing? BEACH stands for the best escape anyone can have. All right, Beth is being very honest, and she says, my mind is too cluttered to visualize. Stupid lists stuck in my head. I am officially a workaholic. I tend to do everything to the extreme. Yep, we know that, Beth. And I pray, one of my great prayers is that you will find the ability to slow down before you are forced to. Yeah, Katie, I wondered about that. Katie's saying, I can hear the waves from my home, off my balcony, and smell the salty air. I am truly blessed. Another is saying, oh, Beth, I know that. Oh, how I do. My mind is so busy. All right. And Isabel saying about beach cams, she's saying she does that often. Good. How about this one? The cure for anything is salt water, be it sweat, tears, or the sea. I think that's beautiful. The cure for anything is salt water, be it sweat, tears, or the sea. And Yesha saying, that is the next step I'm going to take. I'm interested in what they did to survive. Today I was on Facebook and I saw a post from someone which said, look what this virus made me do. Yeah, right. Oh, Jodi's adding, oh, saltwater taffy. Mission accomplished. Jimmy Buffett of Margaritaville said, my mind on a permanent vacation. The ocean is my only medication. Wishing my condition is never going to go away. That is saying, Rose, try finding a game that you can get indulgence in the doctor and leveling up character. It gives me something. You know something? I think anything where you can escape for a while. I can remember once being on one of those programs, you know, where you can virtual reality stuff, where it allowed you to go under the sea and experience, you know, being able to do things under the sea that you can't do in real life. And I just, you know, I found that magical. I actually was riding horses under the sea. Go figure that one. Beyonce said, the ocean makes me feel really small, and it makes me put my whole life in perspective. It humbles you and makes you feel almost like you've been baptized. I feel born again when I get out of the ocean. Katie's saying, oh, Jodi, we have candy shop here and you can watch taffy being pulled in front of you every week while they throw it ready at you fresh. You know, I think to have fresh taffy is just so great. You know what I love? I love going to candy shops and finding aniseed drops. You know, for some reason, I managed in when I've been unpacking, I found some aniseed drops that I don't know when I got them, but they've been so good. The sea does not reward those who are too anxious, too greedy, or too impatient. One should lie empty, open, choiceless as the beach, waiting for a gift from the sea. Aniseed. Nada. It's like licorice, right? The ocean, yeah, they call it different here. Sorry, in England we call it aniseed. Uh, the ocean stirs the heart, inspires the imagination, and brings eternal joy to the soul. And Don Johnson said, I'm just a simple guy swimming in a sea of sharks. I think that's what's going to feel like, by the way. You know, if we do go out there, yeah, there you go. Well, it's just one of those things, Kimmy. I literally, was unpacking a box and there were a couple of candies at the bottom, and I thought, oh, I wonder what these are. And I tasted one. I went, heaven is what these are. Pam Shore said, and listen to this one, after a visit to the beach, it is hard to believe we live in a material world. I wonder how many of you will be sorry when this is all over. And I really do believe some of us will be. Some of us will have enjoyed the peace and quiet. Some of us will have enjoyed the less is more. And some of us will have been really pleased to find out who our true friends are because they kept calling. All right, and Katie's saying we do have old-time candy shops, old diners and little coffee shops that play live acoustic music on the weekend. We have such rich history here. The buildings are from the 1800s. I live in the historic strip. Yeah, what an incredible way to live, Katie. And I think I think a lot of us really would love to do what you're doing. All right, and Kimmy's saying, I have too much quiet. That is interesting. How many of you don't feel that way? I quite honestly, I have not felt it too quiet. And where I live now is way quieter than where I used to live. And it worried me when I first moved. But now, no, I love it. At night, Natalie Wood said this, at night, when the sky is full of stars and the sea is still, yet you get this wonderful sensation that you are floating in space. How about this one? This came from John F. Kennedy. He said, we are tied to the ocean. And when we go back to the sea, whether it be to sail or to watch, we are going back to whence we came. I found that one beach that I walked in Hawaii, there was a stranded seal, or I thought it was stranded until I found out that that seal onto the beach every day. And, you know, it was just like the seal came and sunbathed on the beach every day and then went back. And it was a big seal. Incredible. All right, so Esther just said I'm going soon. I'm getting hungry. But before I go, I'd like to know whether hot glue can be placed on house walls. I'd like to place a decoration, but I haven't got any screws. I'm not sure if it would hold. What do you want to put on the wall? I think it would depend what you want to put on the wall. Kimmy's saying it's hard to get used to no one calling and being by myself with no one to talk to. Right. I would, you know, something, the same thing, Kimmy, that we're always saying, if that's what you're missing, turn it around. You make calls every day. Don't wait for the calls to come to you. You make the calls and don't resent it. She's asking whether a glue gun will put up a plastic hook. What do you want to hang on the plastic hook, though? Because I think some of those glues are stronger than others. Yeah. The other thing is, you know, I don't know what damage it would do to the wall. You know, it could pull the paint off, is what I'm thinking. So, and what do you want to hang on that hook? Yes, but E6000, this is, you know, I'm not sure whether her parents will want her to use that on the wall, Kimmy. And, you know, she lives in her parents' house, so I'm a bit concerned about that. The other thing, Kimmy, and Nyasha, is to maybe work out where there is a screw that is not needed somewhere, you know, and see if you can borrow it, use it in your room. That would be an idea. Katie's saying, I think it's easier for me. I have lived a very quiet life to begin with. I cooked at home. I went for bike rides and walks, listening to music and waves. So that's all the same. You know, Katie, I think that's why I'm feeling so comfortable as well. I think because I was already retired, you know, it didn't affect me the same way. And I'm pretty sure Jodi, you know, except for her concerns about Lionel going out to get shopping. Okay, so Nyasha's saying, I don't know how to explain this, but I want to make some curtain ties so I can tie the curtain to the hook. How about a thumbtack? I don't know what you call that in Trinidad and Tobago. My only concern is whether it pulls the paint off, and I don't know. That is my one concern. You know, so yes, Jodi is agreeing. All right, just the same. I was already in that pattern of daily life. Yeah, I think we're very fortunate. How inappropriate it is to call this planet Earth when it is quite clearly ocean. Isn't that true? Why do we call it Earth when it's covered with the ocean? Jacques-Yves Cousteau, the very famous water ocean guy, said, I said that the oceans were sick, but they're not going to die. There is no death possible in the oceans. They will always be life, but they are getting sicker every year. what I would do, Nyasha, is I would find, you know what I would do? I would actually open up in, you know, if you've got a closet in your room, and if you can find a place that nobody's going to see, I'd stick a little bit of that glue there, and you know, and stick material to it, and then see if it holds. You know, so that do a test somewhere where nobody can see it. Yes, that's true. But she's in Trinidad and Tobago, and she might not be able to get commando hooks. But that's a very good idea. And Fabian Cousteau said, without water, our planet would be one of the billions of lifeless rocks floating endlessly in the vastness of the inky black void. Yes, Katie, isn't that true? Katie's saying the dolphin activity has actually picked up since they made the tourists leave, and they don't do harbor tours right now. So I can sit on the harbor and see so many at sunset. I believe the world's pollution is going to, well, yeah, but we'll see. Ned is saying, I've been struggling with arguing with my loved ones more in this time because of a lot of us are on the edge. It seems to be upsetting others than the domino effect. Yes, what I warned about that earlier. I warned about the fact that people who are struggling with anger anyway, people who are struggling with, who only get their stimulation from external things, they are going to start suffering pretty badly. And we should expect that. You know, be prepared, not scared. And, you know, part of me goes, if any of you end up in a situation where the people in your life start to get violent, you know, make sure you get out and get safe in a hurry. I really do want to say that, because if we stay in lockdown, it could get worse. So we're going to do the countdown, and here we go. For those of you who are romantics, and I think most of us are, we have just 10 months until Valentine's Day. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you. And Christmas is 249 days now. You have 7 months and 15 days to get your Christmas cards into the mail. Oh, the sun's coming through. Big time. For those of you who celebrate American Thanksgiving, you have 7 months and 10 days. And by the way, plan to have it on your own and be pleasantly surprised if you can get the family there. Canadian Thanksgiving is just 5 months and 25 days away. For those of you who are in the States, you have 2 months and 27 days to do your taxes, and you have no excuse. We have just 61 days until summer, or if you are in the Southern Hemisphere, we have 61 days until winter. Taxes in Canada, by the way, we only have 1 month and 2 weeks. Oh, excuse me. And just out of interest, I got to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. It's hard to believe, but I did move 3 months and 8 days ago. And I am still unpacking. And thank you, further bless you. And I have now owned the house for 2 months and 7 days. So it's like, I wonder whether this time next year I'll be able to say I have unpacked what I wanted to unpack. I am sure I will leave some boxes that I will never unpack. And thank you all for blessing me for my sneeze. Katie's saying, I'm so glad I was here this evening. It's so nice to see everyone. I can't wait to see you all next time. And remember to take care of your mind, body, and spirit. I'm here for everyone that ever needs to talk. Katie, what a wonderful gift to us all. Thank you, honey. And you know, one of the things I always say, Katie, the greatest gift that I have from doing Dear Mama Sal is people drift away, and then every now and then people drift back again. We did a live broadcast on Facebook on Friday, and it was amazing. We saw people we hadn't seen. And you know, it truly is magical to me that people pop in, even be it every now and then. And Katie, you need to know that your presence is much appreciated. You helped us visualize so much better. Nada, why don't you join the fitness group? You know, we've got what we call the fitness group, and if you would like that, they're probably I don't know, they're probably you don't have Facebook, okay? And then I'm not quite sure how to help. Except, Nada, I really do encourage you to write to me anytime you want to, right? Because you know that I've always said to you that you are more than welcome to do that. So if you do want to talk about things and sort things out, and the other thing is you're more than welcome, to contact any of us. So what you're saying, Nada, is if we continue to do the laughter ones on Friday evening on Facebook, you'll be missing out on that. That's sad, but never mind. What I'll try and do is see if I can upload onto YouTube afterwards. So, Sandy, you're saying the fitness group. Yes, we have a small group of people who get together. We have a sort of little discussion group. And we try and keep it on healthy things, but it does drift every now and then. And my attitude is it's just a name. So, but some people talk on there more regularly than others. It's gone pretty quiet recently. Right. And Nada, when you get your new email, let me know, and I will gladly send you Jodi's email because I know she's trying to contact you. Katie's saying, thank you so much. I remember doing live shows with you so many years ago. It will see me much more, you'll see me much more often. And like I said, if anyone needs a shoulder or an ear, feel free to message me on Facebook, right? Oh, Nada, I've always said that. The fact that, I've always said that if I can help any of you, just write to me. So I'm hoping that visiting the sea today helped a bit. And let's go back and do a couple more quotes just to finish. Hold on 1 second. It went all the way to the beginning again. We don't want that. Hang on. And how many of you enjoyed this sort of cross between a meditation and a visualization? And would you like me to do more of that? Hi, Kez. Yes, Kez is saying, I've heard that a lot of animals and nature are doing so much better since we are not going out and damaging it. Just worried that when we can go out properly and go back to before, I agree with you. Well, thank you, Katie and Jodi. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I felt there was a need today. I just, there was something about it, and I thought maybe we'll just take a little moment at the beach and take a moment. I see this quote and it made me think about it as well. All the king's horses and all the king's men will never gather up all the plastic and put the ocean back together again. How many of you are going, I wonder how much plastic we have not put into this ocean because of this social distancing? All right, so Niash is saying, can I join the fitness group also? I am, yeah, I will try and work on that for you. All right, so any of you that do want to do that, write to me and give me your messenger. You do need to be on Messenger. Water and air, the two essential fluids on which all life depends, have become global garbage cans. Isn't that sad? I don't know who said this, but I think it's beautiful. I wish that beach therapy was covered by my health insurance. How many of you going? Good point. You know something, Niasha? I'm not going to take your excuse about how difficult it is to do exercise. The reason is I know you have an elliptical. Therefore, what is difficult is you deciding you want to help yourself and get on that elliptical. Yeah, it's interesting, Katie. I think a lot of us are cutting back on a lot of meat at the moment as well. So quite honestly, it's just a group of people. Some of us have been are doing intermittent fasting. I must admit that I don't even put my hours up anymore. But I have, Jodi, I really have to thank you because doing that, I now don't eat. For example, I haven't eaten today. It is now, nearly 5 o'clock here in British Columbia, and I haven't eaten yet. And I don't feel like I'm starving myself. I'm just into that routine. And Jodi, I'll never be able to thank you enough for that because it's just like I now don't need to eat, the way that I used to. And what are the DV victims? Help me. I'm sorry, Kez, that I don't know what that is. Yeah. Jodi's saying the group has become quite quiet recently because of the pandemic. All right. Nyasha, nobody can motivate you. Only you can. All right. The same Jodi was telling me a story. Let me give you an example here, Nyasha, because you do need to get this. All right. Jodi was telling me a story that because of the pandemic, she was up to drinking 4 or 5 cans of Coke Zero a day. And I said, why would you do that to yourself? All right? Why would you do that to yourself? And so I didn't have anything to say to her about that's your choice. You make that choice every day, what you're going to drink. And so what I would encourage you to do is make a different choice tomorrow. And I said the same as I get up every day and I decide not to smoke. You're in? Every day I decide not to smoke. It's not, it's like, it's a decision. And so Jodi did an incredible job of just, cutting it in half overnight. Yes, and Katie's saying I do juice fasting occasionally, but went vegan last year. Completely cut out all animal products. Even my daughter begs for me to cook vegan for her. Yes, isn't that interesting? I'm not going to be doing vegan, but I think we all would like to do maybe 1 day a week where we don't do that, or maybe 2, so we can work towards it, Katie. You're making vegan cheese from scratch. How is that possible? Yes, Jodi's saying, I am turning that around. Accountability, it is up to me. Yes, Soniasha, you understand. No, if the only person who's going to help you exercise is you. And Kimmy's saying, I lost 28 pounds just walking in and outside the hospital when I stayed with my hubby there. I have kept it up inside the house. Yes, you remember I said that to you, Kimmy, that I can actually, walk the length of my place. Stop eating carbs, processed food, and sugar. Yep, it's quite easy. By the way, did any of you see that funny bread making thing that I got? What did I do with it? This thing. I just want to let you know that, you make the dough inside here, and then you let it rise inside here, and then you close it like this, and then you put it in the oven, and it bakes, but it keeps the moisture going around. And I just want to let you know that I did, hang on one second. I did a mini loaf on it, and, look at it. It smells so good. And so the point that I'm trying to say is it's up to us. Do I want to eat all of that, or do I want to allow myself 2 slices a day? Yeah, I want to tell you, I'm not unhappy with it at all, Jodi. It really did a good job. All right, so Katie's saying, hang on a second. She's making cheese from cashews. And she even made Alfredo sauce from raw cashews, nutritional yeast, water, lemon juice, and spices. Wow. How about that? Fascinating. You see, if Isabel is still here, she'd be very interested in that as well. So, Katie, you have a lot to share, and a lot of people would love to hear about it. So, keep coming, please, and keep sharing, because I'm certain a lot of people. So here you are for the week. My thought for the week would be keep calm and think of the beach. Keep calm. Whatever the idiots are doing, keep calm and think of the beach. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you for joining me on Soul Sunday. Remember to press the subscribe button and to click on the bell, and make sure you say that you want to get all notifications, and that'll let you know when we're doing our broadcast. Thank you all for being here. Excuse me. I'm now going to go and find food. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now. See you soon. Thanks and bye.